that any time that I've sent out an anti-Donald Trump tweet, I have been attacked so viciously that I can't even block them fast enough because it's so ugly and it's so discouraging. So it's almost like he's got this social media audience of attack dogs on standby waiting to go after anyone that says the right thing. Oh, and by the way, Trump himself directly blocked the Washington Post. He revoked the press credentials for the Washington Post, a major institution in this country. So what's he going to do anytime there's an unfavorable story or he doesn't like what Chuck Todd said on Meet the Press on Sunday? Like, okay, now Meet the Press is revoked. Now CNN State of the Union is revoked. I mean, if he knocks out the media, this is just making him look all the more bad.
The scariest and most loathsome thing about him is that he incites rage and violence among his followers. He incites hatred, which is the opposite of what any American president is supposed to do. And there are a lot of crazy-ass people in this country. There's a lot of very angry, mentally unstable people who are looking for an enemy. And Trump is giving them enemies. He's giving them Mexicans. He's giving them Muslims. He's giving them the media. He's giving them Barack Obama. I mean, listen, don't forget, Trump spent 2 years trying to convince everyone that Barack Obama wasn't born in this country. I haven't forgotten that. Nobody talks about it anymore, but long before Trump ran for president, he led the birther movement, which was so incredibly racist and stupid. It was based in nothing but stupidity and racism.
The previously mentioned Chuck Todd brought it up on Meet the Press about a month ago, and Trump dodged the question. Said, "Oh, no, we're past all that." And Chuck Todd tried to take him to task, which, by the way, is what the media really wasn't doing up until the point where Trump secured the nomination. They were going soft on him. They were falling around being guests of Mr. Trump. Now there's a cartoon out in Politico today that shows the Trump jet, and it shows the press section out on the wing, and it shows them barely hanging on for their lives. One guy's flying off the plane, his papers flying everywhere. So he is just unleashing that vitriol directly on the press now, isn't he, Adam?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think the media really shirked its responsibility for the entire primary campaign. They found him entertaining. He was good for ratings. They didn't think he had a chance of getting the nomination. And now they're like scared crapless because they know that this is for real now. He's one person away from becoming president. The only thing standing between him and the White House is Hillary Clinton. So suddenly the press is getting serious and doing their jobs and pissing Donald off, and we're seeing him retaliate. But yeah, I mean, I want to see a debate moderator. I want to see every debate moderator ask him, why did you say over and over and over again that Barack Obama was not born in this country, and do you now believe on this day in 2016 that he was born in this country? And I want them to force him to answer that question. That should be the first question in every debate.
I'll tell you who's not going to ask it. If you look at today's news, it won't be Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt came out in support of Donald Trump. That blows my mind out of him. Hugh Hewitt is for Trump now.
I mean, it's just... And I have to say, Brandon, I think some people come out in support of him just because they want the publicity. You know, Roseanne Barr just said we'd be lucky if Trump were elected president. I just think she's looking for tweets. You know, I don't think that I can't believe she honestly believes that.
I've been talking to Roseanne and Tom for years, but I keep a fair distance because every time she talks about Israel and all that stuff, that makes me nervous, to be honest with you.
Well, she blocked me because I posted something about Israel, and I'm Jewish.
Oh, Jewish, really? Blocked?
Yeah.
Didn't you do a show with her? I was just looking at your resume this morning. You worked with Roseanne.
I opened for her once in 2008 in New York City at a club called Comics. And it was like the highlight of my comedy career. You know, she's always been one of my idols, and she was fantastic that night and somewhat nice to me. You know, Roseanne in real life is almost she's kind of a shy person. She doesn't really trust people immediately, and she was a little bit standoffish. But, you know, we were in the dressing room together, and we were talking. She showed me pictures of her grandkids, and I thought it was incredible that I got to open for one of the true icons of stand-up comedy in my lifetime. But she has gone off the rails in the last couple of years, and it makes me sad because I always really had so much admiration for her as a person, as a comic, as an actress. You know, I still think Roseanne is one of the greatest shows of all time.
She was
the
here
TV show.
On Portlandia. Yeah, so, I mean, Portland loves her. But you brought up a point that this makes me think of a valid question as far as celebrities and comics and TV stars and movie stars. I'm not going to name anyone, James Woods. But when I look at their social media, and it's like, okay, right, somebody like James Woods, right, loved him in this movie, that movie, so you should think that his tweets would be promotional, talking about actors and projects, but it's all like Hillary Clinton and Benghazi and all this stuff. It's like, dude, like, I've loved you in movies for like 25 years. Like, don't kill this for me. So do you notice a lot of Hollywood top elites in their social media are just uber political now that they have a BlackBerry and can get on Twitter?
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, I'm guilty of this too, and I'm like a Z-list celebrity. You know, part of it is everyone feels like they have an opinion and their opinion is valid and should be expressed. And then there's also the part of like, hey, if I get a lot of retweets and a lot of new followers because I said this thing, then it's not going to hurt in terms of my career and in terms of my my visibility. I think there's some of that. There are certain celebrities I look at and I think like, you know, when Barbra Streisand says something political, she's not doing it for attention. Barbra Streisand doesn't need any more attention. You know, Barbra Streisand can walk outside and stand on the sidewalk for 2 minutes and be mobbed if she really wants attention. She can appear on television any day of the week. But when someone like Stacey Dash comes out and says that trans people should pee in the bushes, or any of the other ridiculous crap that she says on Fox News Channel, do I think it's because she really believes it passionately? No, it's because she had no career. You know, her movie career was over. No one knew who she was anymore. She was the woman from Clueless from 25 years ago, and suddenly she's a right-wing conservative pundit. And because she's African-American and female and attractive, she knows that that's going to get a lot of traction. And that's gross to me.
Or a lot of spiteful, not retweets, but a lot of backlash. I mean, I definitely saw backlash to that one.
Yeah, but I mean, she doesn't care. It just adds to her notoriety and her fame. I mean, there's people who are famous for pissing other people off. Ann Coulter is one of them. You know, Ann Coulter's career consists of saying really offensive, provocative, hateful things and then having everyone go crazy over it.
Yeah.
And it gets her booked on talk shows.
So
and
social media, all of our lives have changed since the advent of, you know, the Facebooks and the Twitters. Obviously, you know, I met you on there, so I know you're involved. Is it a game changer as far as you as a performer, Adam? How much do you love social media and getting out there like this?
Well, listen, I've been addicted to social media since the first year of the Internet. I was in college when the Internet came out, which gives you an idea of how old I am. And I remember the first thing that we had at the University of Michigan, where I went to school, was news groups. Do you remember news groups, or are you too young for that?
No. Actually, I remember bulletin board services because in the early 90s, I had a computer that had to plug into the home phone line and dial in and get anywhere between like a 1200 and 24 baud connection. See, there's proof that I know, right?
Yeah, so this was the early 90s.
Was the good thing. That was the good speed.
Exactly. So this was the early 90s, and I was on something called I think it was called LGB Rap. There wasn't even a T. That's how like early in our in our culture this was. It was just LGB Rap.
Yes.
And it was a news group for gay people specifically at the University of Michigan. And we all had code names, like, you know, you didn't use your real name. Mine was Hot Young Guy, which many people took issue with. But anyway, we would just like comment.
That's funny.
About everything that was going on, and we would have arguments, and it was just like a very primitive early version of Facebook, but without any pictures or profiles. You know, we just would have these discussions, and one person would comment, and the next person would comment. It was these endless threads.
Just book. Right.
That's right, just book. So I was always into it, and then I remember I was one of the first people on Friendster. I loved MySpace. I was big into, I don't know if you remember Connection, the gay version of Friendster. I was on that.
No.
And for me,
I thought MySpace was the bee's knees. MySpace was like, oh my God, this thing is awesome, man.
Yeah, I loved MySpace for a while until it got really just chaotic and awful. In fact, it's funny, just over the last couple of days, I've gotten 4 new MySpace friends, like, have added me. I don't know why or where that's coming from, but it's like I feel like I'm being contacted by the past, you know.
I've been locked out since 2009. Do you remember actors like William Shatner got locked out of Facebook and sent them a photo? Like, will you believe it's me now? Like, I sent them a photo with me and the user ID number, and they're like, yeah, no, it doesn't look like your picture. It's like, right, because the profile picture is about a decade old. It's me. So MySpace locked me out, man. I'm locked out.
That's sad. But yeah, but Facebook to me has sort of been the most useful, and I really enjoy Facebook. I'm on it way too much. I'm on it like 3 or 4 times a day, posting either like some political thing or some funny thing that just happened to me, or I'm trying to promote a show that I have coming up. The thing I genuinely like most about Facebook is that it keeps me in touch with people from whom I would normally lose touch. You know, I'm connected to people on Facebook that I went to elementary school with and then never saw again. And like
so
now I know what's
I've heard
up
this before. Facebook is the people you know, and Twitter is the people you want to know. Do you agree with that somewhat?
I do. I think that's true. And I also feel like Twitter is impersonal in the sense that, you know, if I tweet something about Hillary or Trump or whatever, and it gets retweeted a bunch of times and people are like, fuck you, oh, sorry to swear, you know, screw you, you suck, you're a libtard or whatever, they don't even know who they're yelling at. They literally don't even see who I am or you know, what I am. They just see the tweet and they're reacting to it. On Facebook, because of all the photos, there's something more personal about it, and it does kind of make you a little less likely to say something nasty on someone else's post, but also it tends to be people you know personally. Now, I have like 5,000 Facebook friends, so I obviously don't know all of them, but I'm connected to all of them somehow. You know, either they're a friend of a friend
I believe that Facebook users are real, Adam. I believe that your Facebook people are real. With Twitter, there's kind of a combination of bots or one angry guy in the dorm that's made like 50 accounts. Like, no, you can't talk bad about Trump. Like, so with Twitter, it's kind of questionable whether every one of them is real. But with Facebook, I believe that your 5,000 folks are real, legitimate. So there is a divide there between Facebook and Twitter. I get it. And
that's right.
Facebook is much larger, what I understand, much larger community.
Yes. I enjoy Facebook more, but I have to say Twitter is good when there's like an award show happening or a presidential debate and I want to live tweet it. It's set up for that kind of stuff. And, you know, it is fun to live tweet something and then the next day read my tweet in a newspaper. You know, like that's kind of cool. And that could never happen before social media. Nobody would have cared what Adam Sank had to say about the Academy Awards if it weren't for Twitter, but because I'm live tweeting it, someone will grab my tweet and put it in their blog or their newspaper or their magazine and be like, here are the best tweets on the Oscars. And that's there's something very democratic about that, and I like that.
Yeah, I got quoted in the Washington Times once. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. The Washington Times never called me. I've never heard from a reporter or fact checker, so I was mortified that I got quoted in the Washington Times, and I checked with everyone, like, they're like, no, dude, they quoted anything you said on social media, and they're basically using your own words. They're not liable if they use your own words.
That's right.
So they can take your social media posts and put you on blast if they want.
Yep. But
now, for the benefit of
that comes
listeners, I'm sorry. I want